everyone, and happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day is a day we honor mothers for all they do. In the Bible, there are several stories about mothers. Today we are going to talk about a mother by the name of Hannah. Hannah had a problem. She wanted to have a baby but couldn't. This story shows us how God hears our prayers and how God can do great things. So sit back and relax and listen to the story of Hannah. This story is about a woman named Hannah who really wanted to have a child. Every year she would go with her husband to a place called Shiloh. While they were there would be a big festival, and everyone would celebrate all that God did for them. They would thank God for their crops and everything that God gave them, and give sacrifices or presents to God to show how thankful they were. This sometimes made Hannah very sad, because she wanted so badly to be thankful, but was discouraged because she couldn't have a child. That didn't mean Hannah moped around and felt sorry for herself, but in her heart she was very sad. Her husband still loved her very much and tried to make her feel better, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, Hannah did the only thing she knew that she could do to help her situation. One evening, when they had finished eating and drinking, Hannah went to the temple and began to pray. When Hannah prayed, she was very honest about how she was feeling. She sometimes cried a lot and probably felt like God had forgotten her. While she was praying, she made a promise to God. "Dear God, if you would only look and see how sad I am and remember me, and give me a son, I will dedicate my son to you for his whole life." As Hannah was praying, there was a man named Eli, a priest, who was sitting nearby and saw her. Hannah was praying to herself. Her lips were moving, but Eli couldn't hear anything she was saying. Eli realized that Hannah was being very honest and truthful with God, and he said to her, "Go in peace, and may God answer your prayer." When Hannah left, she felt much better, because she had talked to God about what bothered her. Early the next morning, she even went to worship God before she went home. A while later, a great thing happened. God, of course, remembered Hannah, because God doesn't forget any of us, and gave her a son, and she named him Samuel. Hannah had waited so long for this child, and she loved him so much, but she remembered that she made a promise to God. Hannah was an honest woman, and when she made a promise, she meant it. Hannah kept her promise. When Samuel was old enough, Hannah took him back to the place where she had prayed, and said to Eli the priest, "Do you remember me? I am the woman that cried and prayed for this child, and he answered my prayer. Now I give him to the Lord, and I will leave him with you to learn and work with you." So Samuel lived with Eli, and every year Hannah would pack her suitcase and visit him, and bring him new clothes. It might have been hard for Hannah to see Samuel only once a year, but she wanted to keep her promise. God blessed Hannah again, and gave her and her husband even more sons and daughters. Thank you for listening to this week's Family Bible Story. Now take some time as a family to think about all of the blessings that God has given you, and pray and thank God for all of those blessings. Happy Mother's Day!